Hey everybody, Stephen Bogren here from Pro Physique, and today what I want to talk about is why you gain weight over the holidays and why it's not as bad as you think. Hey everybody, I hope you all have had a wonderful Christmas. I hope your Thanksgiving was blessed. I hope that, we are ending 2020 off on hopefully as positive of a note as we possibly can, and really looking forward to all the hopefully wonderful things that 2021 has to bring. So I know it was a very challenging year, to say the least, for a lot of individuals out there, and sometimes having that kind of end to the year can bring a lot of hope. But let's talk about maybe why, being post-Christmas, and Chaboy had his very first Italian Christmas with lots of cookies, tiramisu, lobster boil, all that kind of crazy stuff. And I want to talk about why, if we have done some things differently, for the holiday, we would have that short-term weight gain, and why it's not a crazy big deal. And so, for some of us, if you've been dieting really hard, maybe you were prepping, okay, maybe for some of us that weight might not be coming back off as easily, especially if you're very prone to easy weight gain and very aggressive dieting. However, for the vast majority of people, what we are going to see is a lot of water weight fluctuation. And I think it's important to talk about why we see some of that water weight fluctuation during these times when we go overboard, have these new meals, and kind of go out of the norm. And so, out of the norm is going to be one of the big reasons why we're seeing that so much for the vast majority of us. Especially if we tend to do the clean eating, we have a lot of the healthier food options, more nutrient-dense, volume-friendly options. Out of the norm is going to mean a couple of different things. First and foremost, it's going to probably mean a very big difference in sodium. And when we're talking about sodium and weight fluctuation, the lower your sodium is, the easier it's going to be to see more weight fluctuation when we have a higher sodium intake. And if you look at it as sort of a percentage, right? If I am eating 1.5 grams of sodium per day, if I have an extra half a gram of sodium, that is a much bigger percentage. I have upped my sodium intake by 33% essentially, right? I have had an extra 1/3 of my total daily sodium. That is a huge change from what we're used to. However, if you are eating 5 grams of sodium a day and you get an extra 500 milligrams of sodium a day, it is nowhere near as large of an increase. We're talking about a 10% increase now, right? Less than 1/3 of that change that we would have seen from before. So one of the very most common things that we are going to see here is this: the sodium and electrolyte balance change. And so what that can do is it takes some time for our kidneys to figure out, oh shit, this is a lot of extra sodium. We don't need to continue to reabsorb as much. So as you're still reabsorbing that sodium, you're going to hold more water because that's what sodium does. And that can create a big difference in terms of water retention. For some people, as much as 8 pounds I've seen, okay? And so what happens is we take the next few days, we get back to more normal sodium intakes. We're consistent with that. We make sure our water intake is good. We get some exercise. We do a little bit of sweating, all those kinds of wonderful things. And guess what? Boom. We come right back down. Things even out. It's very good. Okay? And so if that's you, that's the fix. Just get back into the normal routine, your normal habits, your normal exercise, your normal water intake. Things will even out. Again, for some of us, it takes a little bit longer than others. However, again, this is why it might not be a huge deal if we saw a big scale drop, right? We say, okay, well, we know it's going to come back down. We know that things are going to even back out. We know that we will get back to where we want to be, okay? No big deal. Now, the other big part of the change from normality that we'll see that can have a really big impact in terms of your weight is digestion, okay? Now, this can go one way or the other. So, for me, I had a lot of very different food sources while I was, enjoying myself this holiday. So it's been years since I've had lobster or scallop or a lot of seafood stuff, right? It's not something that I normally do. It was wonderful, but it's not something that I normally do. Now, myself, thankfully, my digestive system does very well with different food sources, changing food sources, and it's not generally a big deal for me. However, that might not necessarily be the case for everyone. My girlfriend, not the same. She has to be very aware of the food choices that she utilizes. Otherwise, the stomach hurts, she's in pain, she's uncomfortable, and then again, it's affecting what she's doing throughout the rest of the day. And so what we can also see is some people might do well or digest it, but it can still create a lot of stress on the digestive system. Now, if you know me, you know that I am a big proponent of managing stress. So not just physiological stress, making sure sleep, rest, recovery, volume are all in appropriate places, but the psychological stresses as well that create small things like gripping the steering wheel hard, or systemic inflammation through the digestive system. So making sure that your food choices are things that agree with you well, and you're staying away from trigger foods that create issues in terms of digestion can be very important. Not only for things like continuing fat loss and body composition management and even maintaining weight, but just for all things in general, for quality of life. Nobody likes going around having a stomach that fucking hurts all the time. So that can easily be an issue for why we might see weight up as well. If we got different food sources, we're not digesting them well. I didn't poop yesterday, right? That's another reason why my weight's gonna be up today. I just have more mass within me. Stinky mass, but mass nonetheless. And those things can also affect how you are going to weigh in and why that weight could be up. Again, this is one of those things that will work itself out if you just get back into your normal day-to-day routine, get back to the foods that you digest well, and manage stress, plenty of water, and get digestion back to normal, okay? The other one that gets, I think, a lot of us can be alcohol. And obviously that can dehydrate you. That can, if you're doing a good job hydrating with that, it can overhydrate you. Also, it's not going to be the same as food in terms of how your body deals with those calories. Generally speaking, I say try and be moderate on the alcohol intake. However, getting back to normal hydration status, making sure that your electrolyte balance is good, and you're doing all of your hangover remedies, can also help to get that stuff going and get you back towards your pre-Christmas, your pre-holiday, your pre-craziness weights. So I think the overarching theme here is, hey, if you mess up, you get back up. If things go off track, you just try and steer back onto those train tracks and get back into the swing of things. We don't always have to overcomplicate it. A lot of the time, 1 to 2 days off, it's not going to be a make or break scenario. We just have to get back into our normal, consistent routine again after the fact. So now, again, for some of us, that might not be the case. It might take us a little bit longer. Stay patient, stay with the process. This fitness lifestyle thing is all about consistency and time. When we have consistency over time, things work out well, okay? So that's it. That's all I've got. I hope you all have a wonderful New Year's. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday, whatever holiday you celebrate, and that you made lots of great memories with great people that mean a lot to you. So that's it. Let's look forward to a wonderful, awesome, freaking sweet bro 2021 coming up. And y'all have a great day.